Hello and welcome to downtown Melbourne for highlights from the Australian Grand Prix, the second round of the 2024 Formula SimRacing World Championship. My name is Edward Hunter and here's all of the breaking news. Dutch team Optimal eSports have joined the World Championship from this round onwards, promoting their pro lineup of German Ruben Machete and Poland's Maciej Hiller, who is subbed in at Albert Park by Spain's Sergio Fletcher. Owen McGorgy took a stellar first pole position and led the start from Evolution's Jannik Bock. Meanwhile, Sander Kallas went around the outside of Dennis Jordan's Ferrari at turn 1 to snatch 4th position. There was a traffic jam further back as Jukka-Pekka Lailu hit the back of Cosmo Piscito and lost his front wing. Jan Grankvist then ran side by side with Jordan through turns 3, 4 and 5, but the Super Venturi driver pushing through an illness couldn't quite overcome the German on the opening lap. Martin Mergeli was defending 11th from Machete approaching turn 13, which backed the sister Optimal of Fletcher into Michi Hoyer, who took advantage when the Spaniard went too far over the curb to go all the way around the outside. On lap 2, Grankvist attempted to go around the outside of Jordan for Ascari and almost completed a manoeuvre through Stewart before getting a little too wide over the curb and being forced to back out. But if at first you don't succeed, why not try again? Grankvist found out exactly why not the following lap when this time he found himself dipping into the gravel, where he then lost places to Bianca Lila and Denahan. Philip Pushko was running 18th when the Evo driver was taken out by a steering wheel failure, bringing his race to a premature end. Grankvist then attacked Denahan through turns 11 and 12 on lap 6, the pair slowing each other and allowing Jerne Simoncic to close in. Denahan braked late into Ascari, forcing Grankvist into another error, and Simoncic then attempted a double move with the Irishman just fending him off through Stewart Corner. Denahan then blocked the middle of the road entering Prost Corner, delaying the Rafa driver and allowing Grankvist a reprieve as he used the clear road to go all the way around the outside of Simoncic. The following lap, Machete was challenging Mergeli into Ascari and the Hungarian drove his Brabham into the gravel as Hoyer opportunistically slotted his car to the outside of his fellow countryman. The pair banged wheels twice as Hoyer took the inside line for Prost, but Machete was still there on the outside and got squeezed onto the grass, causing him to spin into the path of Fletcher, who was wiped out on the spot in a horrible debut for the Dutch outfit. Giordano Valeriano found himself surrounded on all sides by the Netrex cars as Kostas Van Vukas ran around the outside of the VEM at turn 3. Stavros Mazadis was impatient to get through and found himself running straight into the back of Valeriano at turn 11, losing his front wing. Worse was to follow as Van Vukas, having done all the hard work to get into the points, lost it at turn 2, crashing out of the race, completing a disastrous lap for the Italian team. Bock had been using his mediums to good effect and on lap 11 went around the outside of McGorgy to snatch away the lead. Grankvist then made another mistake at Ascari, allowing a grateful Simoncic to nip back into 8th. After a strong start, Kallas was now having to defend 4th from Jordan, who attempted to switch back for Ascari and Stewart to dive underneath the Grand Effect driver. The Estonian was having none of it, however, and resolutely held his line to keep the Ferrari at bay. Jordan then braked way too deep on the outside of Kallas at turn 3 in a move that backfired as it allowed Bianca Lila to get alongside him. The Italian almost tangled wheels at turn 4 but crucially had the inside for Whitefoot and narrowly avoided feeding Jordan into the wall. The VEM was through into 5th place and Denahan was not about to be left behind, positioning himself to go the long way around Jordan through 11 so that Jordan would have to concede on the outside through 12. This left the race clutch driver vulnerable to Jordan and Simoncic into Ascari as Denahan nearly squeezed the Ferrari as he returned to the racing line, opening the door for another incisive dive from 4-time champion Simoncic on Jordan. Grankvist had had enough of this and pit for hard tyres at the end of the lap, with Hoyer following him in a few short moments later. Kallas then pit from 4th a lap later, prompting Siebel to respond the following lap by pitting himself to keep track position. Then Bock pit from the lead, closely shadowed by McGorgy, who was keen to get off the hard tyres. The pair were very close on exit, but it was the Evo that emerged ahead. George Zalagianis suddenly exited stage left with a wheel failure at the most dramatic moment, taking him out of the running. Denahan and Simoncic then pit, with both being undercut by Grankvist. Bianca Lila then pit from the lead at the end of lap 19 and would emerge side by side with Grankvist, who attempted to go round the outside of the Italian. The Super Venturi's rear wheel was caught, sending Bianca Lila around and Grankvist through the grass, clearing the way for Denahan, Simoncic and Jordan. Bianca Lila then unleashed a flurry of overtakes to clear Hoyer and then Braxock to chase down Grankvist for a do-over. Kallas, meanwhile, was now a sitting duck for Denahan and Simoncic, with the Slovenian sliding around the outside at turn 11 to move up to 5th. Jordan was next up, but the Ferrari driver mistimed his dive at the inside and shred his front wing against the rear of the Grand Effect. Hoyer relieved Braxock of 9th down the start-finish straight as Callas made his second stop on lap 31, attempting to undercut on a third set of mediums as the Brabham duo followed him in. Jordan had caught Siebel for third and then came up against the Germans' inch-perfect defensive driving, which backed the pair into the clutches of Simoncic, who nipped menacingly at their heels. Siebel then pit on lap 37 for a set of hard tyres to the end, but his teammate continued to spiral out of control as Jordan binned yet another front wing in a hefty impact at turn 4, compounding his misery. Bock made his final stop for hard tyres on lap 38, and a lap later Dennehan and Biancalila were in, emerging behind Siebel and Callas, but ahead of Grankvist. Then Simoncic pit for a set of hard tyres on lap 40 and re-emerged in 5th. Despite the momentum of Dennehan, the race clutch driver couldn't quite find a way around the Slovenian through turn 2. Magorgi pit at the end of lap 40, relinquishing the race lead back to Bock, who was now 3 seconds ahead. Simoncic deposed Callas for 4th on lap 41, and Dennehan did likewise into turn 3. Biancalila then went around the outside of the ground effect at turn 11, the Italian zoning in on the podium battle. Siebel was forced to defend the inside from Simoncic on lap 46, creating the opportunity for Dennehan to go around the outside. Once more the trio were 3 wide into Ascari as Dennehan repassed Simoncic, but couldn't quite make it 2 for 1 as Siebel controlled the inside line at turn 14. Magorgi had now caught Bock using the pace of the medium tyre, and whilst the German defended into 3, 4 and 5, it was only a matter of time before the race clutch rookie slingshot himself around the outside of turn 11 to retake the lead of the race. Biancalila was starting to challenge Simoncic into Ascari as Grankvist now joined the party. With 5 laps to go, Simoncic attempted a late dive up the inside of Dennehan at turn 3. It ended in disaster as the pair made contact with Siebel and each other and paid a painful visit to the gravel trap. Simoncic lost his front wing, but Biancalila and Grankvist both gained 3 places free of charge. Simoncic was headed to the pit lane, but Dennehan wasn't done with Siebel just yet, using the delay from the Rafa driver to his advantage and dumping his battery to go all the way around the outside of the Ferrari for 5th on the long run into turn 11, but the result of the battle would ultimately be decided in the steward's room. Nobody could take away Magorgi's sensational victory, however, as he won in only his 3rd ever FSR start to become the first British winner of a World Championship race since Mohamed Patel at Brazil in 2020. But there was drama behind as Lalu lost his front right wheel and front wing after crashing out behind the recovering Simoncic. He crawled around as Jordan and Valeriano passed him, but he still denied Cosmo Prosciutto 15th. Bock secured his best result despite missing out on victory, and Biancalila also recovered from his spin with Grankvist to take his first podium. Siebel and Callas were promoted a place each after Dennehan received a penalty for contact with the German. Magurli also moved up to 8th after Hoyer was demoted for squeezing Machete. Then it was joy for Matthias Stari, who took his first top 10 since Germany 2009. Janos Braxock was a disappointed 11th ahead of Jordan and Lalu. Valeriano was given a 2-place penalty for pushing Zalagianis off track, and Prosciutto was promoted to the final point due to Simoncic being given a 4-place penalty for crashing into Siebel. Also missing out were Musadis and Machete, while Zalagianis, Van Vukas, Fletcher and Pushke all failed to meet the checkered flag. Incredibly, Jan Grankvist now leads the World Championship for the first time by 2 points over Dennehan. Magorgi's win launches him up to 3rd, a point behind his teammate and level with Biancalila. Bock is now 5th, just a further 3 points behind as Braxock drops to 6th ahead of Jordan and Hoyer. Simoncic has his worst start to a season since 2015, and Siebel rounds out the top 10. The Teams Championship sees Race Clutch extend their lead to 25 points, but there's a tie for second between Super Venturi and VEM, both on 42 points each. Evolution have climbed up to 4th, a point ahead of Brabham, whilst Ferrari are 6th ahead of the luckless Rafa team. Grand Effect have leapfrogged Netrex by 3 points, and it was a good day for Go Team, who get their first points on the board to launch them right back into the fight for 8th. So Magorgi is the new star of FSR, but can he go all the way? Will he and Dennehan continue to paint the winner's circle in Race Clutch red, or can Grankvist steal the title from under their noses? And can Simoncic and Hoyer recover from a tough few opening rounds? We'll find out the next race in Hockenheim on the 31st of March, but from me, Edward Hunter, it's goodbye from the land down under.